So human-centered design is a great way to get people involved in innovation. It's a simple method that allows people to lean in and co-create. And we have a program that we deliver, a design thinking program. Typically we do deliver in person, 2 days, about 16 hours of instruction. But we're doing remote instruction at the moment with social distancing. And I wanted to share a little bit about how we do that. So the way in which we deliver our program is it's about 8 modules, 2 hours each per module, and across about 3, 4, or 5 days, depending on the intensity of the program that you want. We deliver the program using Zoom video communications. It's great. We can see everybody. We can communicate. There's a chat function. We can even do breakout rooms and small group work, which is really what design thinking requires. We couple that with Mural. Mural is a visual collaboration tool and allows us to have a sort of whiteboard with sticky notes, and we can brainstorm, sort ideas, vote for ideas, and so forth. We also use Google Drive to help share live documents as well. In terms of this program, we focus on the hallmarks of design thinking. We look at the process itself, and of course the starting point being empathy, and discovery methods being a critical anchoring point in terms of getting us off on the right foot with design thinking, and that's what we want to focus on in this video. Now, the reason why we need to focus on discovery is because we need to have a look at our blind spots. When we do innovation work, what tends to happen is we think about solutions within the frame of our understanding of a problem, in the frame of our experience. But the reality is that there are a whole field of possibilities that perhaps we may be excluding because our vision is sort of somewhat tunneled. And so what we do is we use empathy and discovery methods and putting people at the heart of solutions so that we overcome those sort of blind spots. What we're trying to do is to confront our conventional wisdom so that we can open up the door to new possibilities. Now, real innovation comes from outside-in thinking. Outside-in thinking says, what is happening out there with our customer? What is the problem that they're trying to solve? Now, how can we as an organization, using our products and services, solve that problem for them? Typically, however, what happens is a company says, what are our products and services? Now, who can we sell those to? And of course, you can only really get incremental gains in that way. What you really need to be prepared to is to say, I'm prepared to change everything about my offering if there's a new and better way that I can meet a customer's needs. Of course, it's more challenging to deliver, but this is where real disruptive innovation comes from. Now, how do we get to sort of understanding the people or the customer that's involved in our problem? Well, we need to lead with empathy. And when we say lead with empathy, what we mean is we need to spend time immersing ourselves in the customer's world. We need to interview people, need to identify who are those people, who are the best people who can give us some insight on this problem. We need to immerse ourselves in environments and locations where we can find this customer, where maybe they're interacting with our problem in some way. We can even talk to experts, experts being people who have a big picture view of our problem. These experts can really give another perspective on what's going on in their world. We even add another element in terms of trying to really open up our sort of thinking, and we look at inspiration, possibly even outside of our category. And so go looking for where else is a similar problem found in the world. Now, how can I bring some of that inspiration into my category? A couple of examples of companies who have led with empathy. This is an MIT example. It's a very extreme example. This young woman is wearing goggles. The intent of these goggles is to mimic the eyesight of an 8-year-old. She is working with a team. They're trying to design new solutions for older persons. And of course, being maybe 30 years old herself, she can't relate to the physical or other challenges that somebody who are sort of in their late 70s and 80s is going through. And so these goggles are attempting to mimic the eyesight of an 8-year-old. So here's an example from OXO Good Grips. These are kitchen implements to be used by older persons. They're a really nifty design. They've got these swivel handles. these little sort of combs or teeth on the handle that help with the grip, and really have been designed for older hands in mind. Of course, they work just as well with younger cooks. So a really phenomenal, sort of very human-centered solution from OXO. Here's another radical example. This is Drew Manning. He's a personal trainer. And what he did is he went and put on 30 kilograms. His intent was to really sort of live the experience of maybe one of his clients. He'd been a fit guy his whole life and realized that he didn't really understand the full extent of the emotional and physical struggles that somebody who's carrying extra weight is sort of experiencing as they go on their journey to weight loss. So he put on this 30 kgs, and then he tried to lose it. And it was really through that sort of experience of trying to lose that excess weight that he said he really understood how to design his programs to really meet the needs of his customer. The third example I want to share is a case study that we cover in a lot of detail in the program, and this is from the Good Kitchen. It is a community meals initiative from Denmark, and they had a challenge, which is that many of the sort of customers that should be embracing this free meal service actually were choosing not to subscribe, and they really wondered why they weren't having the take-up rate that they wanted. And instead of just saying, well, it must be something to do with the food, let's go and sort of find some ways to improve the meals, the recipes, or even upskill the chefs, they said, let's keep our options open. Let's really understand what's going on here. And so they led with empathy and did a couple things to really understand the customer. They went into the community. They spoke to people who used the meal service, tried to understand their sort of thoughts and feelings. They spent time sitting at the dining table with some of these customers, really understanding where they're coming from. They even went and interviewed people who prepare the meals and people who serve the meals in this Good Kitchen facility. They even immersed themselves fully in all of these different aspects because they wanted to get a fully well-rounded perspective on what was really going on, because they did not want to jump to conclusions about what the true problem was. Once we've done all of this immersion, these interviews, and really understanding what's going on in our customers' lives, then we can distill this learning. And one of the great opportunities that we use is we use these canvases. In a classroom setting, we may have a large poster, post-it notes, and we get groups of people to sort of gather around this poster and put their inputs. The empathy map is a very simple one developed by X-Plane, and of course it's gone on to have many other iterations subsequently. But what it does is it captures some key sort of highlights around the customer's world. So what are they thinking and feeling? What are they seeing in the environment? And what are they hearing? What are other people saying? We can also distill some of their challenges or their pain points, and then find some delights as well. The journey map is a bit more sophisticated. It looks at the whole journey of the customer traveling to sort of towards solutioning, and drills into each stage in a bit more depth in terms of really what's going on at a beginning stage, what are some of the challenges they're experiencing. And it's through that sort of deep dive into the various stages that we're able to find some opportunities across the journey. Today I want to focus on the empathy map and give you some insight as to how we use it, particularly in a virtual context. I'm going to use the Good Kitchen. It's a great case study that allows us to sort of very easily demonstrate some of these tools. And I'm going to show you Mural. Mural is our online visual collaboration tool. And we can invite participants to all join this canvas, and then they can add their sticky notes. So let's take a look at that. So here we have our empathy map, which is located within Mural. We simply import the template. We can add some sticky notes, we can pre-populate it, or we can invite participants to come and add sticky notes. The great thing about this mural is you can see all the participants sort of moving around the map. And very simply, what we ask participants to do is to say, look at this case study, and now can you add some post-its? So what do you think these 80-year-old residents of Holstebro, in the context of this meal service, what do we think that they are seeing? And perhaps if we think about the environment where they eat the meals, we may say, well, what I noticed is it feels like a soup kitchen. So this gives the sort of elderly a sense that this is some kind of subsistence service for people who are really in dire straits and maybe doesn't feel so good for them. And so you see we can add that. We can even go over to the left here and grab another sticky note, and there it is. We can resize it and start typing on that. And that's a sort of a phenomenal way that we can really get people to see live what the comments of the the other participants on the course are. We have a whole lot of maps for all of our other exercises, and the great thing about this as well is that when we're finished with the exercise, we simply can export this. We can export a PDF, and everybody can have a copy of what we discussed in the session. So that's all we have for you in terms of the discovery methods. A very important starting point in our program to really anchor people in the customer, to get that sort of people and human-centered perspective. If you're interested in knowing a little bit more about our design thinking work, you can go over to invitroinnovation.com and take a look at some of our case studies. We've been working in this area for 8 years. We have several clients that we've done training or even workshops for. We even run seminars on this as well. If you're interested more on the remote side of things in terms of how we deliver all of this virtually, then take a look at everywhereinnovators.com.